All right, today we're diving into something that's way more than just a diet. It's really a spiritual journey, something people have used for centuries when they're looking for, well, for something more. So let's get into it and figure out what this Daniel fast is all about.
You know, it's a question a lot of us ask ourselves, right? With all the noise of daily life, it's so easy to feel like you just need a reset. Maybe you're looking for some clarity, some real guidance, or a breakthrough in a situation that just feels completely stuck. And honestly, that feeling, that search for a deeper connection, that's exactly what we're talking about today.
So for, thousands of years, people have had these practices, these ways to kind of quiet the world down so they can tune into something spiritual. These are like time-tested methods for humbling ourselves and just making room to hear God's voice a little more clearly. And one of the most powerful of these, it's the Daniel fast.
Okay, so what is the Daniel fast exactly? Let's break this ancient practice down and see why it's still so relevant for people today who are looking for that spiritual edge. So at its heart, the Daniel fast is basically a time of focused prayer that's supercharged by a really specific, simple diet. It all comes from the prophet Daniel in the Bible, who did this to honor God. And this is the key thing to remember. The food, that's just the tool. The real goal is to dial up your spiritual sensitivity, your devotion.
And what's really interesting here is that Daniel wasn't some outlier. This fits into a huge, long tradition of fasting. Look at this. Ezra fasted for protection on a dangerous trip. Esther fasted to save her entire nation. And of course, Jesus fasted for 40 days before starting his ministry. The point is, every one of these fasts had a really specific, really powerful purpose behind it.
And that right there, that brings us to the absolute heart of it. Because if you think this is just about changing what you eat, you're missing the whole point. It's the why behind the fast that unlocks all the power. It is 100% about your motivation, about what's in your heart.
Okay, so how do you know if you're fasting for the right reasons? Well, it turns out the Bible is actually super clear on this. It gives us like a divine checklist for our motives.
Wow, this is so powerful. According to Isaiah, the kind of fast God is actually looking for, it isn't just about you and your personal holiness. It's about action. It's about loosing the chains of injustice, setting people free. It's totally focused on others, not just on yourself. And this just lays it out so clearly, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the wrong reasons. Doing it for yourself, getting into fights, exploiting people. And God says, nope, not interested. But on the other side, the right reasons. To truly humble yourself, to fight for justice, to share with the hungry. That's what he honors.
I love this way of thinking about it. Fasting can be like a spiritual acceleration factor. See, when you intentionally tell your body no to the usual comforts, the usual foods, you're not just saying no to something. You're creating this huge, powerful yes for your spirit. It's like turning down the static of your physical self so you can finally clearly hear the signal of what God is saying.
So let's say you do this. You go into it with the right heart. What's the payoff? What kind of spiritual breakthroughs could you actually see?
Well, if we look at the original story, the results for Daniel and his friends were, they were incredible, truly supernatural. We're talking about gaining wisdom, knowledge, a deeper understanding, even the ability to interpret dreams. They got divine guidance for big decisions and were protected from people who were against them. And get this is the most dramatic part. After their fast, Daniel and his friends weren't just, a little sharper. The Bible says they were found to be 10 times better and more capable than all the top magicians and enchanters in the whole kingdom. That's just a mind-blowing transformation.
Now, this quote from Jesus is absolutely key. His disciples ran into a spiritual problem they just could not solve. And Jesus basically told them, look, some things, some kinds of breakthroughs, they just require you to go to the next level. And that next level isn't just prayer. It's prayer plus fasting.
So it's so important to get this. Fasting doesn't replace prayer. It's a partner to prayer. They're like this unbeatable team. Prayer is what opens the line of communication with God. And fasting? Fasting is what quiets your body and your own desires down, so that line of communication becomes crystal clear and way more powerful. This is such a great analogy. Think about it. A doctor orders blood work to see what's really going on inside you, right? Well, fasting can be like spiritual blood work. When you strip away all the comfort foods and distractions we use to kind of numb ourselves, you're forced to see what's really going on underneath it all. It shows you your true spiritual condition, what you depend on, where you're weak, and that's what makes room for God's strength to really show up.
Okay, so after all that, you might be thinking, all right, I'm interested. How do I even start? Let's walk through a few key things to keep in mind if you want to begin your own 10-day journey.
First things first, you got to define your purpose. Get crystal clear on why you're doing this. What is it you're seeking from God? Next, don't forget that unbeatable combo. You have to pair the fasting with dedicated prayer time. Then, make sure you're spending intentional time reading the Bible. And hey, grab a journal. You'd be amazed at the insights you get when you're really listening. And last but not least, a really practical but super important point, please check with your doctor before you start, especially if you have any health issues.
So that really leaves us with one final question. A question for you, really. Just think about it. What could 10 days of truly focused devotion unlock in your life? Whether it's the clarity you've been searching for, freedom from something you're struggling with, or just a deeper sense of purpose, what might be waiting for you?